Welcome to the Job Search and Planning Guide and Workbook webinar. This job search and planning workbook gives you the roadmap to creating your career portfolio for your job search. The objective is to create all of the 21st century skills and tools you will need for your planning and creating your career development portfolio for your job search. The first exercise is going to create your letterhead. So you're going to open up either Google Docs or Microsoft Word and create your letterhead following the step-by-step exercise in number 1. So you're going to enter your name, your address, your city, state, and zip, your phone number, landline number versus cell phone number, or both, your email address. You may want to also include your LinkedIn address, and you're going to want to save this as your letterhead and as a template. Therefore, when you go to create the remaining exercises in this webinar, you will use that template letterhead so that it'll be easier for you to actually create all your documents. Exercise 2, you're going to actually create your references. This is going to be 3 people that are going to obviously have something positive to say about your character, your hard work efforts. They may have known you in the work environment or on a personal level. Definitely make sure that you contact those references, let them know that you have included them in your packet so that they will be on alert when someone calls and begins to ask questions. Traditionally, you need about 3, but I would also ask that you create an extra one for backup. Next is going to be our job search letter basics. So now that you've got your letterhead done, your next step is to actually go ahead and create your job search letters, which include your cover letter, thank you letter, and follow-up letter as a minimum. So we're going to talk a little bit about what a cover letter is and how important it is. It's sort of like the first impression that a potential employer is going to get from you. It's your opening letter, especially in today's world where we send everything electronically. So they're going to open up your cover letter first, and that's like an introduction to who you are. So you're going to want to include some very important information in this document. And it is definitely used to initiate the conversation with the employer. The 21st century cover letter is customized to fit the job that you are applying for. So don't create a generic cover letter and just talk about yourself in general. Pull out the job description, read the job description in detail, and match your cover letter to the criteria that they're looking for in the job search, the job advertisement. And therefore, that means that you'll have a customized cover letter for each job that you're applying for. Your thank you letter is a little bit more generic. You're going to thank them, specifically the person that you spoke with, and really pretty much show them how appreciative you are that they took the time to read your resume, maybe even had the interview, and you're just pretty much going to send this right after the interview was done, or the phone call conversation came, or basically they just actually emailed you back and said, thank you, I'm in receipt of, etc. The follow-up letter is written after the interview, and you're kind of waiting around to see whether or not the potential employer is going to hire you. So just make sure that you are really a little bit detailed in this follow-up letter, opposed to like the cover letter. The cover letter is just an introduction. Remember, you're not going to put a lot of detail because that's what your resume is for. But the follow-up letter is a little bit more detailed than the cover letter because it may include some items that you may have missed in the interview, you may have missed in the cover letter. So that follow-up letter has twofold. You're following up to see if you got the job or let them know that you're still interested, and you may fill in any missing blanks that you thought about after everything has been done. All of these letters have their role and are important in the job search, so each letter should be written in a business format and must always be error-free. Please, whatever you do with this particular career portfolio package for your job search, let 2 to 3 people go ahead and review your packet. Look for errors, typos, anything that may look unprofessional that could hurt you in the process. Here's a sample of a job search letter, and we kind of want to go over here with you how it should be. Now, many job search letters are done as an email, and so you would eliminate some things like the date and who the recipients are, etc., simply because that's all in the email draft of the email. You're going to just be concerned with creating the email body. So definitely make sure that your initial paragraph is detailed. We've got a little sample there that you can use as your template. But what I recommend highly is to Google a job search letter, whether it's cover, thank you, follow-up for your specific industry and that specific job. Glassdoor, Indeed.com, flexjobs.com, all of these job search sites have samples of with good material. So go ahead and check those out, compare them to what we've given you, and then create your own from draft. Make sure you include your digital signature, which just simply could be your name typed in italic. Don't upload your original signature into the document just yet. You don't know who they are. You don't, you just don't want to expose yourself. So your signature will just be in italic format using some type of font that you prefer. Next are lab assignments. So you've got 3 of them. You're going to draft using the workbook that was provided in this package. So you're going to definitely want to print off the entire workbook. And then you could actually go ahead and draft out your cover letter. We've got here a sample of what the cover letter should include. And you definitely want to make sure that you're meeting the criteria we previously spoke about. But definitely draft it first. Put it on paper, in writing. If you don't like to handwrite things, then just open up this document. Open up a document, Word or Google Docs, and type it in there. But print it off, have someone else look at it, draft it, and then make sure that, it's actually been proofread by someone for errors, things like that. Again, your thank you letter, draft that out. Make sure you do the procedures. When you tend to write things down on paper or you type it in, you're kind of, really critiquing it as you're doing it. And then you have someone else take a second, third look at it. It just makes for a perfect product. Same thing with your follow-up letter. Now we move into resume basics. So here we give you a host of information about the basics of a resume, what should and shouldn't be in there. So read this material very carefully. You're going to want to make sure that you use that in order to create and complete your resume worksheet, which is included in your packet as well. We also have a link here where you can click on, and this is where I go over more information about resume tips. So because that's in there, we're not going to go in too deep with it. Also, there is a draft section available for you to actually write down exactly what you're looking for, what fits your criteria, not only for the job, but your skills as well. We also included in here a job description website on Indeed.com where you can go in and take a look at a job description that's similar to the job that you're applying for. So very resourceful. This entire package is very resourceful. So again, you've got the remaining portion of your workbook. Take the time to fill it all out. We do monthly Q&A Zoom events where you can, if you've taken and bought this product from us, you'll definitely be contacting us so that you can get your certificate for completion, which is a state-approved certificate of completion. Once you do that, you get added to our mailing list, and every time we do a Zoom meeting, networking meeting, or a Zoom specific meeting about job search particulars, you'll be invited. And that's all included, no additional fees. Here you're going to put your resumes, references that you identified in the first exercise or second exercise. Also included is a very resourceful, this is a link so that you can create a video resume. And this is highly recommended so that you could critique yourself in video format to see how well you do, your body language. Most interviews today are done virtually, and some people may not be used to that format, but you definitely got to make sure that your background is important in a professional format, as well as your body language and your dress for success. So definitely practice doing this. If you don't want to sign up for one of these accounts, what you could do is go ahead and create a Google Meets event and invite your family and friends, and then create interview questions and do a mock interview and have them evaluate you. All sorts of ways. And those are kinds of tips that when you join our group, we send you over our links to all of our Zoom meetings and extra workshops that we do that are free, and just give you an idea of how to stay on top of everything and keep current with everything that's going on for job search. Our next page is a few resume tips. Definitely read these over, apply them, get an additional piece of paper out and kind of jot down some notes, or open up your whatever note format that you use so that you can take good notes, so that when you do the interview, you can actually refer to those notes so that your interview is successful. Then we've included a sample. This is a generic sample, so please specifically Google a sample resume for your industry. That is the best way to do it. Just included this in the webinar so that you have an idea what a professional one looks like, but do not use this one. Go find out what is exactly utilized in your industry and the job that you're applying for, because it's so important that you meet the standards for that industry. That career portfolio, highly recommend you create that using Google Sites. It's a free platform. It'll allow you to do like 4 to 5 pages of a career portfolio, which you can upload all the information from your resume to this career portfolio for absolutely free. And now you've got a digital portfolio that is a link that you can send out to potential employers. You may also use this Google Sites if you wanted to highlight your certificates, accomplishments. You can add video, just kind of sell yourself on all the things that you're great at, and put that on that Google Sites. You don't have to spend money for a domain name or any of that. It's all free. Most importantly, you want to make sure that your resume is ATS ready, and we've included a link in here where you can run your resume through the job scan, and it will tell you whether or not your resume is ATS ready and give you hints on how to correct it. Can't get any better than that. It's free. We also highly recommend that you create a digital personal information cards, because we're always attending these virtual events. You can't really hand out somebody your business card anymore if it's a virtual event. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and create your personal information card, and use this wonderful app. Here it is right there. The link is right there. And then that way you can send it to people that you may meet over chat on a Zoom call. Next, we want to talk about your finances a little bit with this job search, because you need to know what your current or last net income was. Why it's important, because you need to know what your clear picture is of your finances. And we want you to know how to not only figure out what your net income is after you obtain a job, but you also want to do this worksheet to find out how much you're going to need to cover all your expenses. So once you identify your expenses and those amounts, go ahead and total them all up. And then figure out how much, divide that by the number of weeks in the month, so that you can figure out how much you need to be netting in your paycheck so that you can pay those bills. And you could also, if it's $5,000 a month that you need, divide that. It's 40 hours in a week. So if you divide that, most months are 4 months, so that's 160 hours. Divide that 5,000 by 160 hours, and then you'll know what you need to make per hour. But keep in mind that you have to make sure that It's not your net when you do it that way. It is your gross income. Next exercise is your self-assessment worksheet. This is so important. Google 3, go to glassdoor.com, find 3 job descriptions that are similar to the job that you're looking for or the job that you've had previously, and see what those jobs are paying. Especially in today's climate, everything's jumped, it's all over the place. What you may have worked for $15 an hour last year, maybe minimum $25 an hour. If you don't know what it is because you didn't do your research, you may accept $20 an hour and thinking you got a $5 an hour raise, but in reality, you're working $5 below the average. So do your due diligence, do your homework, find out what your self-assessment is, find out what you are valued at. And it's so easy to do now, just so easy. We also put in here a career builder where you can check salaries as well. So make sure you do your due diligence. Next is our lab number 4, which is our elevator pitch. We definitely want you to practice your elevator pitch. This is in person or virtual. If you get called on a Zoom meeting to introduce yourself, you got to be ready. You don't want to be stumbling all over the place. You can't remember what to say, all of that. So what we provided here is a worksheet so that you can outline what your elevator pitch is going to be. But first, we want you to complete this exercise so you can see what to do and what not to do. Great information. Never thought you'd get something this in depth off of Etsy, did you? And for the price that you paid. Tell your friends, share the information. All of our events are like this. Powerful tools, powerful information, all include a webinar to explain how to do things. Most of those Etsy packages that you can buy, they're cheap, but they just give it to you. Well, if you knew how to do it, you wouldn't be buying it. You've done it yourself. So what we do at the T-Bird Center is we provide you with the resources, the tools, and then we show you how to do it. We tell you what needs to be done. And then we provide support afterwards. And because we're all doing all this remote work, we wanted you to do a financial look at what it would cost you to go to work traditionally opposed to getting a remote job. And there are so many remote jobs in demand. You definitely want to check that out. You want to check out our remote work certificate program where you can actually go to Etsy and download a couple of forms. Typically, our programs are like $29, and it includes the workbook, which is also a combination of a training guide and well as workbook. And then we do our webinar that tells you how to get everything done. And then on top of all of that, as a bonus, we provide monthly Zoom, I call them Zoominars, because we actually teach you and go over a lot of good information. And it's free because you've actually signed on to one of our products, purchased one of our products. And then we have a membership program where you can get all the new things that we create. You'll get access to them for a very discounted rate. So you definitely want to check us out for future programs out on Etsy. And you can always call us at any time at 609-484-9356. You'll find that up on the Etsy page as well. Thank you and good luck to your job search.